Hello, good morning. Let's get started right away. I'm Deirdre O'Rourke, and this is my channel, My Two Cents, where I talk about anything that is striking my fancy today. And I've got a list of little things here that I thought I would like to discuss. So let me start with the first thing I have down here, which is the Raquel Rachel Leviss lawsuit filed earlier this week, suing, looking to, I guess, get damages from Tom Sandoval, he of Scandoval fame, and including Adriana Maddox. And I read the whole filing yesterday, found it very interesting. I personally, as I watched the whole thing unfold last year, I thought the running of the what was that Herman Woke book, Young Blood Hawk, where there was a scene called Running of the Stag, and it was very much Running of the Stag of poor Rachel last year. They would not have been satisfied unless, she was put in the dunking chair and killed. Actually, it was some of the cruelest, worst stuff I'd ever seen, and they were like baying hounds going after this girl, and it was really cruel to watch because she had always been someone on the show that was not one of the main characters. She was kind of ancillary. She was dating an abusive drunk, allegedly abusive drunk, but I think the camera speaks for itself. But she is now retained an attorney, he's kind of high profile, Mark Garagos. You might remember his name. I think he was also the attorney for Michael Jackson when he was fighting against, child abuse. I'm not thinking of the right word, but I didn't hurt those children. Well, yes, you did. I mean, that's my opinion. Please don't go after me. I always thought there was something off, and I think the HBO documentary done by the two boys who are now grown men, as they recite all the things that happened to them and demonstrated all the grooming that went on, I don't have any doubt in my mind that there was something very, very wrong there. So anyway, Mark Aragos was his attorney, got him off, I believe. Also an attorney for Chris Brown and a lot of his problems. Winona Ryder, I think, when she had the shoplifting incident. So it's been around, knows a lot of people. This is who's backing Rachel up. And I'm really curious to see how this is going to pan out. One curious little thing, I love LVP, but sure enough, she made sure that she called up one of her contacts to pose for this little sound bite to make you believe she's coming out of a restaurant. And a guy comes up, a paparazzi comes up and questions her about what does she think of this most recent incident, and of course she poo-poos it. Well, I really don't think he can poo-poo it, because what happened to this girl when that whole Scandoval thing was going on at its height was cruel to watch, because she was this very meek and timid, easily cowed person. Always, that was always her persona, and now she's being hung out to dry and allowed to have these screaming shrews. That's the only way I can describe this way. This Sheena Shea, and who's the other one? Lala, the lovely, charming Lala Kent. Just oh my God, it was just really hard to watch. And she pulled herself out of the situation. She went into therapy. She was in a facility for months, and she decided not to go back on the show, which is always my point. Things aren't working out for you, don't go on the show. and which is what she did. So I had a lot of respect for her on that. And now a year has passed, and she's decided to maybe right some wrongs. So I'm sure it's not going to be a popular opinion, and maybe I'll get some comments telling me how off I am, but I really do wish her luck. So that's that one. What was the other one? Oh, okay. This is kind of a little bit of a pet peeve for me because I watch the show and I am just in awe of the talent on this show. And I'm wondering, what's the hoopla? And I'm talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. What a great little show. I mean, it's not for kids. I mean, there's adult, racy, blue humor in it, but it is certainly funny, campy entertainment. And like I said, the talent on these participants is fantastic. These are very clever, talented men who, you know, perform in these shows. So not sure what the issue is. I mean, was America up in arms over Milton Berle when he used to dress up? Or I used to love him. Dame Edith. Dame Edith was fantastic. I mean, there was no outrage there. Everybody understood and everybody got the joke. What's the harm? So I really have to question these people who are attempting to have drag banned or regulated. Oh, please, use your common sense. You know when it's adult material and when it's not adult material. And if you don't know, maybe you shouldn't be making decisions for children. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, RuPaul's Drag Race, if you like some campy fun and you want to see some really talented people, watch it. I think it's on MTV now on Friday nights or something. So anyway, great show doing it. Another little thing, this is a tiny little thing. I'm not going to belabor it, but I was just saw a commercial with Judge Judy on it, and she's used this expression before, and I just think it's so vulgar. Why are you, bringing up urine when you're talking about yourself? She uses this expression. If you pee on my leg, do you think I'm gonna think it's raining or something like? Oh, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Well, gee, do you have to bring up urine, Judy? Was it really necessary to associate yourself with that picture? I think she should drop it because she is supposed to have some gravitas. She's supposed to be, all these other things. Let's, put the urine out of there. Now, there is this, I don't know whether I should go into this one. This will go on forever, won't it? How much time do we have here? Okay. Yeah, I think I'll go on. I'll do it. This is from The Real Housewives of the OC, which, as you know, is the original franchise. This is where it all began. This is what really spawned this whole Bravo TV empire. And they've had cast members come and go. And a couple of years ago, there was this one cast member who everybody on the cast hated, apparently. But she had a fascinating little storyline with her mother. Her name was Bronwyn. Bronwyn something or other. I forget what her last name is. But she was a cute, petite little blonde, and she had 7 children. I mean, and wow, you kind of admired her a little bit. So you got to know her. She's married with 7 children, as I said, but then you meet her mother. And you really have some sympathy for Bronwyn because the mother was a life-sucking vampire. I mean, she demanded and commanded the room, and whatever you wanted, really, it was of no consequence. She was the queen, and you better understand that she was the queen. Highly dramatic. She had these multicolored dreads that she wear. And meanwhile, let me tell you, this is like this is a matron. This is a 60-some-odd-year-old woman with the multicolored dreads and the flowing hippie clothes. And even at one point, she was caught shoplifting in Mexico. Really? You really had to shoplift that little tchotchke, ma'am? So anyway, you had some sympathy for her, and this girl Bronwyn was on for I think 2 or 3 seasons. Well, as the seasons went on, those only 3 years, you start to understand that Bronwyn is turning into her mother. And now apparently she is full blown her mother. And she had this long suffering husband who was very compassionate. And really, I thought to myself, boy, you're a lucky girl. This guy is fantastic. Bronwyn apparently is now running around bashing this long suffering husband, which I think they're in the process of getting divorced, or they have been divorced. Whatever, their marriage certainly isn't functioning. Once she turned into her mother, the marriage ceased to function. And of course, here's another one of these reality stars who think it's okay to, drag their children into this drama. Her children are now posting online saying how that their mother is crazy as a hat rack, and their father is the most fantastic guy in the world. And this is kind of going across the board. All the kids are saying this. So you really have to wonder. It's Bronwyn Wyndham Burke, I think is the name, if you want to look her up on Instagram and look up her mother. Her mother's a nut too. So a very interesting, I've always said that I have to admire these people for allowing the cameras into their life and documenting themselves when they really have no concept of how they're going to come across. And it's fascinating. She's a fascinating piece of work. The fact that she has turned into her mother, it's interesting. It makes me wonder if there is some sort of real medical issue or psychological issue that she's fallen into and developed into, perhaps once menopause hit. So, very interesting if you want to look her up. And the final thing I'm going to end on is this advertising campaign that is running on Instagram for a jewelry maker called Alexis Bittar, Bittar. So, uh, if you haven't seen it, please look it up and follow the whole thing from the beginning. It follows this Upper East Side matron called Margot and her downtrodden assistant named Jules, whose real name is Hazel. Margot doesn't want to be bothered learning a new name, so she's going to continue to call him Jules. And the fascinating little vignettes. They have to have put out about 20 of them since Christmas. They're wonderful, they're fun, and they really highlight these major pieces of jewelry. I mean, they're the big cuffs and the big necklaces, great clutches. Not my style, but there's a loads and ton of people who this is exactly their style. And they're funny and they're cute and they're clever. There's a lot of pathos, and they use a lot of these well-known New York figures like Kelly Catrone is in there. Interview Magazine is in there trying to interview Margot. You also have Sonia Morgan, who I'm not a huge fan of Sonia, but one of the new housewives, Jessel, who I really like, they're also in there. So it's a lot of fun if you can catch it. It's Alexis Bittar, Bittar. And if you want to watch something funny and clever, and maybe the jewelry would strike your fancy, that's what you want to watch. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I will be doing this again tomorrow. I'm sure there's something I'm going to be jotting down. Oh, right, I haven't yet watched Summer House. I need to watch Summer House so I can put my 2 cents in about that. And what else was on last night? Oh, RuPaul was on last night, so I get to see what those clever little queens have come up with. Because, like I say, wowsy wow, they're really good. And so, anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.